Coming up on today's episode of the Locked On Senators podcast, I'm back in my home studio after vacation, so I quickly recap what went on while Ross and I were away. But more importantly, we have a very special guest coming on the show today. It's Emily Clark from PWHL Ottawa. She tells us all about her decision to come to Ottawa, some of her teammates that she can introduce us to, and a whole lot more. So get excited for that interview on today's episode of the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Welcome inside episode 949 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Ross Levitan still away on his honeymoon as he gets to the second leg of his honeymoon, going from Hawaii to Tampa. So he's in the air as we speak. But you can follow us on social media at Sens Central on Twitter, lockedon.senators on Instagram, and of course on YouTube. Today episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 money line bet that wins. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today for our friends down in the States. Today is January 1st, 2024. Wow. 2023 was a wild year for the Ottawa Senators, and thankfully, they ended things off on a high note with the 5-1 win up against the Buffalo Sabres. 3 games happened while Ross and I were away. Of course, the win up against the Toronto Maple Leafs, which we predicted on our episode. You always love to see that. Not so great of an effort up against the New Jersey Devils, but they round things off with, like I mentioned, a 5-1 win over the Buffalo Sabres. Now, what a week it was for the Ottawa Senators. Ross and I have so much to get into when Ross gets back for tomorrow's episode. I mean, you look at the Ottawa Senators making some major changes in the front office, most importantly, adding Dave Poulin, friend of the show, to the team as Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations. We've had Pooley on the show multiple times, so if you want to kind of get to know him better, obviously you know him pretty well from his time as analyst with TSN covering Sens games, but if you want to get to know him a little bit closer, check out our episodes with Dave Poulin. Lots to look through. I believe we've had him on 3 times. Him and Ross go way back from Ross's days as producing for the radio station at TSN 1050, and honestly, Pooley, just a great guy. I mean, the best way you can decide if Pooley is a great guy, a great teammate. He was a captain of the Philadelphia Flyers for years. And just look at all the people that work at TSN. Look at all the tweets that they sent out saying, hey, this is a tough loss for the TSN team because Dave Poulin was a big part of our team, but they're congratulating him, and pretty much everyone feels like this is a slam dunk hiring by the Ottawa Senators. So Ross and I will get more into that in tomorrow's episode. What else happened? Thomas Chabot returns from injury. Thank goodness. This team's got to get healthy, and Thomas Chabot is a big part of that. And Eric Brandstrom, not a defenseman, but a forward in last night's game up against the Buffalo Sabres. So that was an interesting move as well. And of course, like I mentioned, the 3 games that happened, Ross and I will dive into those as well. But we recorded an interview with Emily Clark a couple weeks ago before we went away on vacation, and this was an awesome interview. Emily is such a fun personality. She's going to be one of the stars of the PWHL and PWHL Ottawa. So she tells us all about how she kind of made her way to Ottawa, the decisions that went into that big move for her, the excitement that she has coming to the capital city. She highlights some of her teammates. If people are new to women's hockey, you can learn a lot about this team and the rest of the league throughout this interview. So that's always nice to be able to spread some shine on other players, not just Emily herself. She talks about maybe some rivalries that could be happening around the league and a whole lot more. And the PWHL is about to get underway, and PWHL Ottawa has their first game tomorrow, January 2nd at 7 p.m. is the puck drop. It's at home for Ottawa at TD Place up against Montreal. So that's going to be a fascinating game to get things started off. So I don't want to spend too much more time keeping you guys from the Emily Clark video, because we had such a fun time chatting with her. She even says at the end of the interview she wants to come on more often. We're going to try to keep tabs on PWHL Ottawa and the rest of the league. The more hockey, the better. The more, the merrier in the capital city as far as hockey goes, as far as I'm concerned. So we're definitely going to have Emily back on the show because it was a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoyed this interview with star player of the PWHL Ottawa team. It's Emily Clark. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Guys, FanDuel is North America's #1 sportsbook and the official online sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. And right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action that offers for our friends down in the States. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options that I love. It's the best sportsbook app out there, hands down. You can bet on things like spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Get your futures in. NFL playoffs coming up. You're going to want to get some action in on that, as these playoffs are going to be wild. The NHL, it's a new year in 2024, so make sure you can get your picks in, starting with the Winter Classic, Seattle versus Las Vegas, the two expansion teams. That's going to be exciting, so get in on the action. Don't miss out. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at the GLEBE Central Pub. You guys already know we love the GLEBE Central Pub. It's the pub of the Locked On Senators podcast. They sponsor the POSTCAST and the show. We appreciate them just as much as you will if you head to the GCP. Visit them at 779 Bank Street and let them know the Locked On Senators podcast sent you, because they are the neighborhood pub in the heart of the Glebe. It's great food, great people, and great drinks, and they're doing their best to get Sens fans out to Sens games. The shuttle is easily the best experience you can have if you want to go with a group of Sens fans. You go to the GLEBE Central Pub about an hour and 15 minutes before the game, have your dinner, get ready, and then Sue, the bus driver, will take you to the CTC. She always gets there as quick as possible. She's a vet when it comes to that route. Go to the game, have a blast, then the bus picks you back up at the CTC and takes you back to the GLEBE Central Pub, where you can vibe and celebrate a Sens win with our good friends over at the GCP. And the best part is you get that round trip from the GLEBE Central Pub shuttle for only $17. You can't beat that deal these days. They love Sens fans, and you guys will love the GCP. As Ross loves to say, the vibes are free at the GCP. So check them out today, guys, at 779 Bank Street. It's the GLEBE Central Pub.
All right, we now welcome on a very, very special guest, the Saskatoon native. This woman, all she does is win. A two-time gold medalist at the World Under-18s, a two-time world champion, a two-time Olympian where she's got a gold medal as well. And oh yeah, how about a university NCAA championship with Wisconsin as well? Now you'll be able to watch her star for the PWHL Ottawa team. It's Emily Clark. Welcome to Locked On Senators. Emily, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I got to adjust my hat to a bigger size, maybe. Got to hang out with you guys longer.
Well, I'm surprised it's green and not gold under the brim. That Canada hat.
Geez.
I mean, my goodness. So you've been playing for Team Canada now for a number of years. I mentioned two-time Olympian. Let's pick up where you just left off. The Rivalry series, is it a bit of a different vibe now, being like, hey, these girls are my teammates now, but we're going head-to-head in the coming weeks?
Yeah, it's definitely been fun to be in the same jersey as them a little bit. I really like our Americans, so that's a bonus. Fun to play against them. I think it'll honestly be a little bit more odd this season playing against my Team Canada teammates that, have been on the same side for so long. So there's a lot of people that I think are more fun to play with than against, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone in Ottawa, the more hockey we can consume, the better. So we're happy to invite the PWHL to Ottawa. But take us back to the start of this, Emily. Like, when did you kind of get an idea that you might be heading to Ottawa for this team?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I mean, we had the free agency period, but my timeline is so off. This year's been such a whirlwind, but it wasn't really that long before free agency that we even knew the cities for sure. And not even just saying this because I ended up here, but as soon as the cities came out, I didn't know how much control I would have or not, but Ottawa is definitely where I wanted to be. So when I got that phone call from our GM, I was pretty fired up, and it was almost an immediate yes. So we had the free agency period, and going into that weekend, I didn't want to set too high of expectations and just see what happened. And as soon as I got interest from Ottawa, I knew it was where I wanted to be. So I was a happy girl.
So with Ottawa, was it just like geographics, being in Canada? Like, what played into it where you're like, this is where I want to be? Because it's not like you could be like, oh, they've got a good team. They didn't have a team. Nobody was on the team. So why was Ottawa something that caught your attention right away?
Yeah, totally. And I think it's just my experience that I've had in the city so far. I definitely, if I had any control, would have loved to be in Canada, just being Canadian. And I think out of the cities that were available, it was just, closest to home. Like, I'm from Saskatchewan. I know it's a smaller city relative to some of the other ones, but also the community feel that you get here. I mean, we played here leading into the 22 Olympics. We played the U.S. and then we played the U17 boys team. So we spent like almost 10 days to 2 weeks here. So that's a pretty long stretch, and got a good feel for the city. So I really enjoy it here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Now, for people that are kind of inching their way towards women's hockey and starting to get involved and learn more about it, what can you tell people that are going to be fans of this team, like that the vibe around the team, how you and the rest of the girls are feeling going into this and into the start of the season? I mean, we were talking about it before. The tickets are flying off the shelves. People are so excited for this. What can you say to some fans that are maybe newer to women's hockey about what's going on with the PWHL here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the response has been incredible. Like last week, just refreshing Twitter every day and seeing the ticket count and how much has been sold. It's been pretty special to see the support already. I knew that the community would get behind us, but to see it right off the bat, and I'm pretty confident in what we'll put out will make people want to come back home game after home game. But I can tell you that people are new to women's hockey. I think you just got to watch it, and I think the physicality surprises people. I mean, obviously there's technically no body contact or open ice hits, but I think the physicality along the boards and even what we do get away with surprises people. So I think it's a super enjoyable game. And I might be biased, but I think we have some fun personalities around the team. So I think as people get to, follow our social media and get to know us more as people and the things that we do in the community, I think I like to think we're pretty easy to root for, but we'll see.
Oh, that's awesome. We're all the way behind you guys as well. And I think the behind the scenes part, and you say like the kind of people you are, is going to be a huge part of growing this. Cause you always watch, like I remember growing up, like the road to the Winter Classic and everything. And, getting to see like kind of what goes on a day-to-day basis with the club. I'm hopeful that we're going to get a lot of that with you guys in the PWHL, which begins tomorrow, January 2nd, Ottawa hosting Montreal, a natural geographic rival, and hopefully it can have the same kind of heat that a Sens Habs. We know the same fans, so we already have the the good-natured ribbing with them, so hopefully that continues here with the PWHL. Now, Emily, you were one of the 3 first signees for Ottawa, along with a pair of your Team Canada teammates. We know Brianne Jenner brings leadership, brings a whole lot, and I want to get kind of your scouting report on a couple of your teammates, but Emrys Mashmeyer as well. We're a goalie-friendly show. We always go with that. What can we expect in the crease for Ottawa this year? That's what we need to know.
Yeah, okay, we'll start with the crease. I mean, I can't say nothing but good things about both of them. I've known them both for so long, and like I said, the free agency period was kind of crazy. Even as things are happening, you're texting people trying to get the tea before it's even official, and like as soon as I found out it was the three of us, I was so excited for the foundation of the team. And Emirates is one of my best friends, but I think she's one of the best goalies in the world. And when she has a starting position, she loves that pressure. And we describe ourselves as a gritty and energetic team. And I think that, you don't usually describe a goalie as gritty, but she's such a pain in the ass. Like she'll curve you. She wants to make you better in practice. If she saves it and you don't score, she'll let you know. So nice. I think just that kind of fun, competitive nature out of her on the daily definitely shows up in games because she practices how she plays, and nothing but confidence when she's in the crease.
I love it.
Now, those are some positive things you have to say about some teammates, but I want to spark up some rivalries here, Emily. What now that you know all the rosters of all the other teams, maybe beyond just a geographical rivalry, like obviously Ottawa and Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto will have. When you're looking at these rosters of the opponent's teams, which roster are you looking at and being like, ooh, this group of girls, like we're gonna have some heated battles against them?
I like this. Good question,
That's
Phyllis.
a good question. Honestly, I think any team has the potential to have some rivalry. I mean, we played in Utica against the 3 American teams, and they were all 3 great games.
Yeah.
I think we have a good mix of grace and grit, and I think Toronto has the same. So I am excited for the geographic rivalry of us in Montreal, but I think there'll be some pretty intense games against Toronto too.
Battle of Ontario. Yeah.
So set it up.
Here we go.
And the schedule, it's pretty like fast and like every other day, it almost feels like a bit of an NHL type schedule. Like, is that something where I know that a lot of you girls played university hockey, and we say the same when like a Jake Sanderson comes up for the Sens? It's like, how are they going to adjust to playing in that, every other day pro mentality? Is that something where your practices have kind of shaped around that, how to manage fatigue, the rest, recovery, all that? Is that something that's been a focus throughout training camp?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that we'll kind of grow with and have to adapt and be patient with ourselves. But we definitely do compete hard in practice almost every day. There's some form of battle or keeping track of score in some sense that makes us compete every day, not just on the weekends, like you say. Most of us are used to the typical college schedule, doubleheaders on the weekends. And a lot of us that are maybe coming from the PWHPA over the last 3 years, we haven't played as many games as we'd like to, but I think at this point with where we're at, like we're all just such competitors. We're just so pumped to play. So let's go 7 in a row if we have to. I think we're just excited to play and compete.
Yeah, the more hockey, the better. Now, I want to ask, and maybe there hasn't been anything in the works yet, but maybe there is something, some kind of connection. Is there going to be like a cohesive relationship between PWHL Ottawa and the Ottawa Senators? Like, are there some collaborations that you guys have already done or that maybe are in the works, or can you tell us anything on that regard?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm sure that there's conversations being had. I'm not involved in them, but I mean, they did host us, and I think already the support we've gotten from them and the 67s has been great. And I think it'd be fun for the fans too to see us just interact more and more. So I hope that comes down the line.
Now, totally. Follow up though, Ross. Sorry, just quickly to jump in here.
You got 2 good questions so far, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, let's see if I can keep it going. What do you know about the Ottawa Senators? Do you have any sort of connection with any of the staff members, the players, or anything like that? Like, is there any kind of further relationship between the city of Ottawa and maybe the hockey team that's here that you have?
Yeah, pretty cool connection, actually. I grew up playing with Rourke Chartier.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, his dad is actually one of my favorite minor hockey league coaches, so it's pretty cool that we both ended up here the same season. So definitely keep tabs on him and root for him. We actually had Jacques Martin come speak to us a couple weeks ago. So kind of cool that we have that connection point too, and now that he's running the bench there. So hopefully those connections can stay strong and grow even more.
That's awesome. And I mean, for such a small province or city like Saskatoon, like you guys pump out some talent. Did I hear you grew up playing with Chandler Stevenson as well?
I never crossed paths with him. We played in the same minor hockey zone, but he was just a little older. But yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a hotbed per capita, but you keep tabs on everyone. Like, you just root for everyone. Connor Ingram's another guy that I train with in the summers for quite a while now, and you just cheer for for them and keep tabs on them. So I'm super pumped with how well he's doing this year too.
Yeah, he's been awesome. It's great to see him after some, struggles that he's been vocal about too, to come back and play the way he has. And I also want to go back to kind of how everything I read about you too, Emily. It's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? You said since you were a kid, you just always dreamed of being a hockey player. I love that.
Yeah.
Just the sole focus on that. But on the way back last year, you were among a group of women who got to go to the All-Star game in Florida. Tell us about that experience and maybe something that stood out.
Yeah, I mean, that was incredible. It's been really awesome, the support, and that the NHL has included women a few times now. And I think when we are given that opportunity, it's pretty cool to see the women who have rose to it. I mean, obviously we all know Kendall's lap and Brianna Decker coming first in that one event. So any chance that I think that fan base gets to see us on the same screen, on the same ice surface, I think it's so amazing for our game, and just draws even more eyes to us. So it's really awesome that they're also including a PWHL 3-on-3 event at this year's in Toronto. So it'd be pretty cool. Hopefully get to participate in that, but whoever they choose will put on a good show. But just incredible when you're on the ice and you're doing the warm-up laps and you see some of your favorite players from growing up, like Crosby and Ovechkin. That was pretty cool. That was a little bit of a pinch me moment. But yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Well, yeah, I saw you got the picture with Sid. Was he your favorite player? Was there another player that you tried to model your game after?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like a bad Canadian for saying this. I was pumped to get the photo with Sid, and I have met him before. And I say nothing but good things, even just how he carries himself and went out of his way to introduce himself to us and chat with us. And but I was always an OB girl growing up too. So
Oh, yeah?
I was pretty pumped about that. Another guy that I was really impressed that anytime McDavid comes up in conversation, I'm like very much Team McDavid. He went out of his way to again say hi and
Cool.
Asked about the Rivalry series, and he was keeping up with it and stuff like that, and just had like a really good just hockey player to hockey player chat. So I have a lot of respect for him as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, it must be so crazy just to be around those guys. Like the aura that they must have would be pretty cool. Now, you mentioned sharing the screen with the NHL and bringing eyeballs towards the women's game, and it's been so awesome how since NHL 22, the video game has started including women's hockey on it. Now, NHL 23 had a nurse on the cover there, and it's got to be pretty cool for you seeing yourself in a video game. Like, I can't imagine what that would feel like. Describe what it's like to be a part of that. And did you play the game growing up as well?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I have 4 older brothers, so it was like you're either playing mini sticks, chell, or shooting pucks in the backyard. That's my whole childhood. So they were probably more pumped about it than I was even to play me. But I mean, all that stuff is just stuff you don't even think as a possibility or dream about as a kid. I feel like I use the word excited and dream come true a lot lately, but I mean, that's how I'm feeling about a lot of things. Again, like even getting to play in my hometown coming up, hopefully with the Rivalry series, like all these things that are happening. It's just like dream come true after dream come true. So living my best life for sure.
Hope you guys are enjoying our chat with Emily Clark of PWHL Ottawa. We got to take a quick second to tell you guys about one of our favorite sponsors. It's Farm to Fork, guys. Farm to Fork is a premium meat and seafood delivery service. What we love about Farm to Fork is all natural, antibiotic and hormone-free, and ethically raised meats. The meats are flash frozen after being hand cut at the butcher table. That means that your meat is much fresher than the grocery store. Do you even know how long your meat has been sitting out at the grocery store? Don't worry about that with Farm to Fork. I love Farm to Fork because they can be delivered to your door. They came all the way to Collingwood and delivered me some steaks, some chicken. And the best part about it is all the products are individually vacuum packed. So take out only what you need. You're having dinner on your own, easy. Pull out one steak. Your partner's coming home from work early, pull out another one, no problem. Family coming over for the holidays, it's easy to plan with individually vacuum sealed packages. And the delivery is free and convenient. Don't worry about stressing going to pick the meat up. Have it all delivered and then just worry about your sides. You can sit at home in your PJs and get it all done on their website. They got steaks, they got chicken, they got seafood. Whatever you're into, you can find it at Farm to Fork. So go to Farm to Fork Delivery, that's farm2forkdelivery.ca, and use our promo code SENS10 for 10% off your first purchase. Again, guys, that's farm2forkdelivery.ca, and use promo code SENS10 for 10% off your first purchase. Taste the Farm to Fork difference. You will never go back to grocery store meats. Now, back to our interview with PWHL star Emily Clark.
Yeah, and that's coming up on February 7th in Saskatoon. It's going to be Canada versus U.S. And I love that these are being broadcast on the NHL Network in the States too. Just again, another step in the right direction. And I'm seeing some early reports that, you know, Sportsnet and TSN, like the big networks, were going to be able to find these games. And like that's been the story with the NHL for so long as well, especially in the States. How do you get more eyeballs on it? Because once you do, people get hooked. The quality of the play tells the own story and gets people fired up. So I love that seems like it's not going to be a roadblock for you guys to be able to get out and get in front of people. Now, what are fans of PWHL Ottawa going to be when they see number 26 Clark flying around out there? What's your self-scouting report?
Self-scouting report. I mean, I think that they can just expect like that grit and grace. Like, I'm not afraid to.
I love that term, grit and grace.
I know.
Awesome.
I love it too. That's
Thanks.
great.
Yeah, not afraid to get a bit dirty and play super physical, but also want to, produce a lot offensively. I like to think I see the ice pretty good and take my shots when I can. So, but I mean, nothing gets people going like knocking someone else over. So hopefully a lot of that to come.
I love it. And points is a bit of an understatement, Emily. I mean, you look at your career at every single level, point per game at the NCAA level in 147 games. So a decent sample size there. And obviously had a lot of success on the international stage with Team Canada. Just looking through your connections, you and Mashmeyer have played together 11 seasons, according to Elite Prospects. So you weren't kidding when you said she's been a longtime friend of yours, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been so special to go through this.
That's
literally
awesome.
Since our first Team Canada roster, we just keep making them at the same time and have gone through this side by side. So that's been pretty special.
So there's 3 players that you've been with for more than 8 years, according to Elite Prospects. Sarah Nurse with 9 years. You'll have hopefully a good Battle of Ontario rivalry with her. And the other is Brianne Jenner with Team Canada and now PWHL. So you said there wasn't any kind of behind the scenes bargaining that all 3 of you were going to come together? You had to know before it was announced. Come on.
No. I mean, obviously, word travels fast. And as soon as I caught wind, obviously super excited and very close with both of them. So, you want to run things by your friends. And all of us just had such an amazing feel after talking to Mike and, his vision. And we're definitely very excited to start this together. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about both of them. Like, it's been so special to get to play with them for 10 plus years, like you said. And Jenner, I mean, getting to transition from a fan to a teammate to a friend after watching her in 2014, I think, she just does it all. She's like the definition of an amazing leader, but she's so clutch. Like, you can't deny Poulin's clutchness, and that gets discussed a lot, but I mean, Jenner, anytime we've needed her at the national team, she produces, and she got that first goal in the legendary 2014 comeback. So yeah, she's just got it all, and I learn from her every day. So it's pretty cool to get to go to work with her every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of the game on an international level, it's not every day you get to have an Olympic gold medalist on the show. So we got to talk about that, Emily. Like, just describe, I guess, just to keep it focused, because there's probably so much you could talk about with that experience.
Mm-hmm.
What's that moment like when you're sharing that with your teammates, wearing that Team Canada jersey, and you got that gold medal around your neck? I mean, that's got to be all-time top moment in your life. I'm getting goosebumps even just describing it. That must have been so incredible.
Yeah, it was like an out-of-body experience. It's almost like you're watching a movie. Like
there it is. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. The whole day was just a dream. And I mean, talk about staying focused, like that, waking up that day and trying not to think about results, trying to think, I mean, it it's talked about a lot to try to lean into the process versus the result. But I literally had to, like, as I was eating breakfast, I had to talk to myself, like, you're cutting your breakfast, you're eating breakfast.
Just focus on this for now. Yeah.
Because it's so hard not to think about the results either way. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, I think our whole team was focused just on like one thing at a time. And obviously at the end, the result went our way. And it was just such a dream, especially after the heartbreak in 2018. To have lived both, I think made it extra special. And I will say the second best thing to winning it there and experiencing it with my teammates was getting to come home, because obviously with COVID, no family or friends over there, and had quite the warm greeting. But getting to like give it to my parents, like that I'll never forget that. That was the most special part.
Where is it right now?
Yeah, it's in a drawer in here somewhere, in a sock.
I'd be wearing it every day.
Wearing it to the coffee shop.
Yeah. There's a line at the coffee shop. Maybe just pull that out. Let it shine a little. Sorry, guys.
Like a little Nexus card at the airport security.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it gets you through quicker.
I'll get right by there. That's awesome. So, who was your favorite NHL team growing up?
Is it a test?
Yeah, it is.
Well, I guess I was hoping to come back on, but I might not after. I was always a Flyer fan growing up.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay. We'll allow that. We'll allow it. Yes.
I'm not a Habs or a Maple Leaf girl, but yeah, it was like my dad's favorite team, and then my team growing up were the Flyers zone, so that was pretty easy.
Oh, nice. Are there some connections with Saskatoon or Saskatchewan to the Flyers?
I mean, I think like when my dad started to become a fan of them was like the Broad Street Bully era, and I think there was a few Sask boys on the team that I don't want to butcher their names now or disrespect, but yeah, I think that's probably where it started.
That's awesome. No, okay, you really scared me there for a second when you said that.
I was nervous too, Ross. Yeah,
you'd be invited back, but no, you absolutely will, and we want to make sure that we're doing what we can too to get you guys the proper coverage, because obviously any sort of startup, there's challenges along the way, and we're really excited to have you in Ottawa and right by the GLEBE Central Pub. So we know that's where we always go when we're in the Glebe. It's on 779 Bank Street, right down the street from Lansdowne, walking distance. So I could see a few nice walks over to TD Place for you guys.
When you're in town, you just let me know.
Oh, we will. I'll be rocking my number 26 Clark jersey.
There we go.
What day did you sign with Ottawa?
Oh, that's a good question. September something? Early
It wasn't September 1st though, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So we're PWHL insiders. I'd just like to have that on record. September 1st. It would be very
come on.
Cool.
That was pre.
This was 2 days before, but you might have already signed. I don't know. I can't give my sources away, but no, we're so excited to have you. Honestly, Emily, it's a real treat, and to get like name, and not to say that like, of course we want to be fans of this, but it's not like we know the third, fourth line guys the way that we do with the teams that we cover all the time. So I think that you honestly deserve a ton of credit as well. And with Emirates and with Brienne coming in, these are names that we got to follow throughout the Olympics. And we kind of, you're able to make that connection based off of games that we've watched before. And I think it's just cranking up the excitement level that much more. So you're saying that there's going to be rivalries. You're saying there's going to be some physicality. There's going to be that grit and grace that we've come to know and love. And I think that all adds up to a great product. So Pills, you got a final question for him?
Yeah, I do. And you actually kind of led me perfectly into it. You already mentioned a couple of your teammates, but like Thanks. Ross said, maybe some of the other players on this team, apart from the big names people don't really know. So give us a quick shout out. Who's someone that, maybe unsung hero. Yeah, an unsung hero that we got to look out for with PWHL Ottawa.
Man, like how much time do you have? Because I like our roster, I think it's so deep, and our strength is, I think, our diversity. I mean, I think we have the most nations represented. We have Canada, US, Germany, Hungary, Czech, and Japan. So I think that's going to be really cool to see, all these different styles of play and bringing the best from each other. And it's been so awesome to get to know the international players, because they just play a different style of game sometimes, and like drawing the best out of them and hopefully learning from them has been really cool. And but if I had to give one person to give a shout out to, I think it'd be our Japanese player, Kane Shiga. She is unreal. Cool. She's so sick. People are going to love her. She's so skilled, so strong. I don't know how tall. She's got to be 5'3", but like she is not afraid to go in the corners and she's strong as hell. So that'd probably be one person I'd say you got to look out for.
Cool. Is she one of the younger players on the team too? She's 22. Yeah,
she's the youngest player in the league, actually.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
So talk about getting in at the ground level, right? Grassroots, like that's the kind of jersey you get and they're just going to grow into,
yeah. That's
right?
a good investment, I would say.
Oh, I love it. And like, again, it speaks to what you were saying, where over the past, like there's not a whole lot of games played to be had, which is why this league, again, one of the reasons why it's so great. Like I'm looking at her elite prospects right now, never played double digits in one place in one season. Like I'm excited for this. You got me all fired up here too. So and obviously we're the C for Japan as well. Yeah. Okay. You got a game to prepare for. We'll let you go. We really appreciate this. Emily, would you be up to do this kind of, bi-weekly every 3-4 weeks and keep us up to date?
Anytime.
Nice.
Heck yeah. Emily Clark, Olympic gold medalist, world champion, under 18 champion, NCAA champion, and now your star for PWHL Ottawa. Really appreciate this, Emily, and we're really rooting for you guys. Bring home another title. You may as well. You got any room left in your trophy case?
Jeez, that one would be pretty special. So that's what we're gunning for. But thank you guys so much for having me and, really getting behind this team. And I'll be on anytime you want, but I'll bring my friends anytime too.
Nice. Hope you guys enjoyed our interview with Emily Clark. Like we mentioned at the end, we're hoping that this is something we can do a lot more often, as PWHL is the new exciting women's hockey league. And it's so awesome that they have a team in Ottawa in PWHL Ottawa. So awesome to have a chat with Emily Clark here. And we're going to do this much more often moving forward. Now, obviously, last week was a little bit different for the Locked On Senators podcast, as Ross and I were away on vacation. We don't do this very often. You guys know, we're always on the grind. We take the term "your team" every day very seriously. So we still put out content for you guys. And now that I'm back home, Ross is going to visit his folks in Tampa. We're going to get back to our more regularly programmed, scheduled podcasts, and we're going to be back to covering this team on a daily basis. And the biggest news, the POSTCAST will be back, as the Ottawa Senators are also on the road. And let's just hope this road trip goes a little bit better than last time, as they're going to start off tomorrow in Vancouver. These are late ones, so get your late night coffee, get your energy drinks going late in the evening, as they got Vancouver on the 2nd at 10 p.m. Then they go to Seattle on the 4th, then Edmonton on the 6th, Calgary on the 9th, and then back to Buffalo on the 11th. So this is going to be an interesting road trip for this team. And hopefully with Thomas Chabot back, Eric Brandstrom being a star forward, that this team can rack up a couple more wins here and they can get off to a better start in the new year of 2024 than they did to the start of this season, as the Ottawa Senators are not where we thought they would be in the standings. But hey, it's a new year. I'm giving this team a clean slate. I know you guys are upset. I haven't hit the panic button yet. I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. Just remember, the St. Louis Blues were in last place January 1st, and they went all the way to the Stanley Cup, and they won it all. So I know it's a long shot, but I'm holding on to that as something. And you know what? Let's get back into the idea of holding games in hand as a positive here. I know Sens fans were down on games in hand, but let's boost games in hand back up here, as the Ottawa Senators are still far behind a lot of teams in games played. So hopefully Thomas Chabot back, Shane Pinto back in Ottawa, obviously not eligible to play yet, but that's a good sign, as he hopes to make his return with this team. Rumors are they're working on a contract. Could be just 1 year, or Elliot Friedman reported maybe something a little bit long-term as the new executive group of the Ottawa Senators. Maybe the reason they decided to do all this recently was because they had some big things cooking. So we'll see if that happens. But overall, it's a new year, January 1st, 2024. I have a feeling it's going to be a good one for the Ottawa Senators. Now, we probably say that every single January 1st, mind you, but let's hope that this time is different. But thank you everyone that followed along with Ross and I on our vacation. Like I mentioned, we don't do it very often where we leave and don't follow the team live. We had pre-recorded episodes. Hope you guys loved the 3 citizens that we had on. We had great chats with them. And then for the first time, we did a best of episode, all our favorite interviews from 2023. We collaborated those. We had Walk, Chuck, Jamie Rivers, Mark Mathot on Halloween, and Ian Mendez when he was over in Sweden join us. So those are some awesome interviews. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So for today, I say goodbye for Ross Levitan. We'll be back tomorrow, and the postcast is back tomorrow as well. We thank you for watching another episode of the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.